Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our second session for Next Level Refs. Look, again, we're just really so thrilled to have the engagement with you guys, both online and the people that have come up to us in person as well to say they're enjoying things so far. So thanks again for that. A shout out to our first sponsor, Legea with Wayne Spagnol. So thanks very much, Wayne, for trying to improve these the looks of these 4 mugs that you see in front of us. We really appreciate it. You might have seen us in the black shirt last week and then the white one this week. So thanks again, Wayne. We really appreciate that. Look, we ran our regular Wednesday session last week, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Saving Time. But we believe that some of you guys had difficulties in viewing some of the content. So rather than let you miss out on any of those important fundamentals, we decided that we'd re-record our positioning and movement session that we're going to do for you guys tonight. So for those of you that were able to join us last week, you may notice that we've added some different content, mix it up a little bit, but we still want to obviously use that to drive home those key messages. So we hope you enjoy it. And again, we'll just reiterate, keep that feedback coming. We're here for you guys. So, we'll change and alter the way that we're going to present for you guys as Next Level Refs, because it's not all about us it's about you guys. So keep all that feedback coming. Thanks very much. You might notice that we also send out some clips, put some clips up there for discussion. Lots of people really engaging in their opinions on that. So thank you very much for that. We kind of keep that window of engagement open for about 48 hours. And you might notice, some of you might have noticed that we do post an answer, as you can see on the screen, in the comments section. So if you're thinking, geez, these guys have posted something, but they don't actually give us the answer, we do agree on an answer for these clips prior to that. We give you a chance to put your thoughts in, and then, of course, we give our summary with the considerations, etc. So just have a look in that comment section for the answers for the future clips as well. So thanks very much. All right, Greenie, let's kick it off.
Yeah, so tonight we're kicking off again with a pretty huge topic, positioning movement. As we've said, it is a massive topic. It's pretty complex, and we could spend multiple sessions running through some of this material, and we will do into the future. But tonight we'll start with the fundamentals first, and we'll kick off that way.
Yeah, thanks, Greenie. Look, just before I hand it over to Beathy to introduce the agenda for tonight, as was mentioned by Benny previously, it's a great opportunity for us that we have an opportunity to re-record, that we can use some great clips from Sean Evans from his match last night. Unbelievable A-League men's Sydney derby. So we'll be using some of the clips there to highlight some great positioning and movement. Over to you, Beathy.
Yeah, you're right, mate. It was a cracking game of football last night, so best that we take advantage of that. And Shawnee put on a bit of a clinic with some positioning and movement. So great to use those clips and highlight some excellent Australian officiating. So tonight, what we're going to run through, we'll touch on briefly why positioning and movement. Benny's going to take us through some positioning principles. We'll look at football understanding with Greenie and Dello. I'm going to touch on priority areas, and then we'll finish with a practical exercise that you should be able to put into your training as early as tomorrow. So let's get into it. A really quick one, why positioning and movement? As Greenie said, it's such a big topic, but it's such a critical topic. Essentially, the right position equals the right decision, or certainly the opportunity for the right decision. Without it, we're pretty much guessing. So it is critical that we understand this topic. We know why we're moving, and we have the principles behind it to guide us when we're out on the pitch. Speaking of principles, Benny, you might as well take us through it.
See what you did there, mate. Not quite a principle yet, but we'll see how we go. Look, so yes, the definition of optimal positioning really is that position with a really clear view on what's happening, and so that we're close enough that we can react effectively. All right. If we're not in the right position, we can't see what's going on, and therefore our chances of making that correct decision, as Beathy mentioned, are so much more diminished. So look, let's keep it simple. Let's going straight back to kindergarten or prior to kindergarten when we learn our ABCs. Really easy one to remember. A stands for angle. All right, so we're looking at that 45 degrees to the challenge or the tackle. All right, B stands for ball. That's ideally having that between the referee, us as the referee, and our assistant referee. And C, close. So ideally in that 10 to 15, we're usually around that 15, to be honest, once we look at the clips, with A for angle being the number one priority. So let's put that onto a pitch. As you can see, there's the referee there. We can see the yellow line. That's the diagonal between the two penalty areas, with the two assistants running what we call right wings. So they're on the right-hand side there. And if you can kind of maintain that diagonal, you'll ideally have play in between you and your assistant referee for the B part. A is for the angle, as we know, C for close. And obviously we do know too that we can come off that diagonal. And the clips that we'll show you tonight will show where and when you do come off that diagonal for that wide view. So we spoke about that angle, right? That clear angle view on play, that is the number one priority. All right, so a couple of key things to think about. That wide angle view, all right, referee, ball assistant, we're trying to look between or through the challenge. Ideally left of play, but again, angle has to be the priority. So in this little clip that we've got here, or not clip, but this little symbol, you can see on the left-hand side under external, the attack is going from the bottom of the page to the top of the page. Referee's trying to get left of play in yellow, my least favourite colour, to look through the challenge and look through that X, if you will. Okay. Now, if you're not able to get out there at the point of the challenge, whether that's a tackle or in the air, you could take the internal angle. All right. So you can see on the far right there, the referees thought there's zero chance of me getting out into that external zone there by the time these two players come together. So I'm going to take the internal angle to make sure that I can see clearly. So good name for a song. All right. So as you can see here, one of the most famous decisions that we ever know, 86 World Cup, Azteca Stadium, 114,000 people, and Maradona hand of God. So left-hand side, you can see we ourselves, as we look at this picture, are looking straight through or straight between in that challenge. And quite clearly, we can see Maradona handling the ball. All right. The keeper hasn't quite got there in time. Now, the middle picture, we've changed the angle a little bit, right? So we're not quite in that zone. We're not internal or external. Now, of course, we're not going to be usually looking into the back of a goalkeeper as the referee, but this quite clearly shows you that we're not quite sure whose hand has got to that ball first. And when in doubt, often we give no decision. And that's why in this situation, a goal was allowed. Now, you can see the bigger picture on the right-hand side there. You can see just in the left-hand frame there, the referee's position. He's trying to look for that angle, but he's looking through players. He can't see. He's looking into the back of players, and he's created enough doubt because he doesn't have a clear view of where that hand has handled the ball, and hence the goal being allowed. All right, let's get into the first of the clips. All right, so this is one of the ones that we mentioned. This is from the Sydney Derby over the weekend. Sean Evans. So a break from play. We've gone into transition. Sean in black, you can see, especially when it's in fast motion, he's really put on the speed there, but he's looking for that angle. All right, now he's not going to be able to get all the way out left there. So he's taken the internal angle, but he's also close enough to react effectively. So when that ball's come back over, look at the angle that he's got. Perfect angle to allow and see that goal being awarded. A great run from Shawnee. You'll see it from the wider angle here. He keeps adjusting left, keeps adjusting left, keeps adjusting left. No, I won't get all the way outside that one, but once the cross comes in from the left. Keep looking at the referee. Beautiful. All right, we'll go on to the second clip. All right, again from the same game, you can see Sean just adjusting. Not sure where the ball, are they going to make it out here? No, there's no foul. It's been transition. Look, he's adjusting left there. Ball straight through. He's adjusted for the angle, and the goal is given. So Sean's close enough now to see if there's going to be a foul. He's not sure if the ball's going to come out from Sydney FC in blue or the Wanderers. He's given no foul here, so he's got great angle there. He adjusts left of play, a ball straight through the cuts the defence. Sean's got great angle there as that ball is put into the net. We won't talk about the offside focus because we're focusing on the ABC aspect of this. But you can see, like we said, looking through the challenge close enough to react effectively. Now, this is not an A-League match, however. It's a AFC Champions Elite match, but the referee is one of our own, Ali Reza Fagani, one of the best referees in the world, and we're hoping he'll be picked for the next World Cup as well. So we've got Shandong in orange, and Johar in the dark colour here. So you can see the ball comes across the right. Ali Reza, you can see him really busting his chops to get across that side, leading with the head to look between the challenge, look through the challenge to, again, focus on that angle. He's got good angle here as the ball comes across. Look, now what's going to happen here? He's working hard. Look, have a look at the ref. Now, it's come back again. There could be a chance for the challenge here. And he's gone even wider again to see if the goalkeeper is going to foul that attacker. All right, so again, great intellectual understanding of seeking angle first. All right, so a summary of that ABC. A, angle is our number one priority. Move to get that angle first, and you've seen those adjustments from the clips that we've shown you just there. B, ideally have that ball between you and your assistant, okay? That should never replace angle, all right? Angle still has to be our number one priority. And C, that closeness, ideally that 10 to 15, usually about the 15, not too far from play, not too close. If we're too close, we might not be able to see it, and too far, we might not be able to see it nor sell the decision. All right. We did have another clip in there prior to that, but we don't. If you look across at the picture here, English Premier League situation, referee's not too far, but he is a little bit far behind play. But the key thing is he doesn't have the angle that we're looking for, right? So he may miss a potential foul here because he's not looking directly behind the angle, the arrow. So the yellow arrow you can see might not give him the best view that he's looking for. So if he'd taken the route here of trying to get left where that red arrow is, that gets him into a position to see angle first, having the challenge between him and his assistant referee, and he's close enough to react effectively. There's your ABC.
Thanks, Benny. That's great. Look, I think we'll get into football understanding now. Some really good clips there, mate, and great explanation of the basics. So great work. Look, understanding and reading the game of football is obviously an important skill for all match officials, and one of the main ingredients found in good positioning and movement. We would have all heard the phrase "run smarter, not harder." This obviously definitely applies in this topic. So today we'll still focus on two key areas of football understanding, being anticipation and match awareness. There's also another point here that we'd also want to touch on, and that's expect the unexpected. In all positioning movement, just when you think you're in the right position, something weird and wonderful happens. So we need to be ready for it. So look, we'll get straight into anticipation. Over to you, Greenie.
Thanks, Dello. Yeah, look, we're going to start with the where we go principle. So it's a fundamental positioning concept that helps us as referees stay ahead of play and hopefully make the best decision that we can. So the first where, this is about where is play going. So obviously we need to know as a referee where the ball is. And then we need to anticipate the direction of play based on a number of factors like how the ball control, the player's movement, and obviously the tactical setup of the teams as well. Then we go on to the second where. So where do I need to be? So this is where do I, as the referee, need to go? It's about anticipating where that next action is going to take place. And we do that by scanning the field for targets, and we'll see some really good examples of that from Sean again shortly. It's about getting your head up, having a look. Where is that play going to go? Is it going to go long? Is it going to go short? Is it going to go wide, or is it going to go straight down the middle of the field? And then importantly, the third part of the where go is the go part. So that's where we, as referees, we need to move. We need to move to the best position we possibly can. And hopefully we get there and we're proactively moving so that we get there right when that critical moment is likely to happen. So it's going to be that challenge or that contact. And we need to move early. We need to move quickly. And even the small adjustments can make a huge difference. Even that little short, sharp movement left or right, as Benny was talking about with the internal or the external angle, can make a huge difference to whether or not we're going to see it. The second part we're going to look at in regards to anticipation is the player movement. Now, player movement also has a big impact on how we as referees move around the pitch. So if we just summarise it quickly before we take a look at some examples. So in regards to player movement, where possible, we need to try and stay ahead of play. Now, that's not always possible, but where we can, we need to try and anticipate and be ahead of the play. As Benny mentioned early on, and we're going to hear it a lot throughout tonight, maintaining that angle is critical. It's about lateral movement as well. As I said, sometimes just a little bit left, a little bit right, not straight up and down the middle like Dello used to run throughout his career. And then finally, it's about avoiding traffic. So again, we as referees, we need to have that escape plan. So when it gets congested, when it's inside the penalty area, we need to know where we can go if the ball suddenly transitions quickly and starts heading back the other way. All right, let's jump in and have a look at some examples. So as the boys have said, we're lucky enough to have some good examples from Sean from last night. And we can see here, he's not too concerned about getting too far right at this stage. There's nobody pressing too hard on the Sydney FC on the blue team at the moment. So as play develops, he's happy to stay in that central position. And then he's got his head up. He's looking where the players are going to move. You can see him now. He can see that Sydney, that blue player, that attacker, about to make that run. So he knows where he has to go, and then he moves. So we talk about the go. This is the go part of the where we go.
Even just prior to that, Greenie, when you were talking about a couple of those little lateral movements, just before that ball went forward, you noticed Sean kind of backed out a little bit to the left. I thought that was a really good adjustment.
Yeah, 100%, Benny, 100%. It's a really good example. So, yeah, as you can see, he just backs away a little bit. He's not too concerned, as I said. There's the backing away, and then he recognises that through ball's coming, and he goes. And he's in a great position.
Just on that point also, Greenie, I think he showed good patience there not to get caught and run too far to the right and then get caught in play. So, again, there was really good anticipation there and made that run into the penalty area really good.
100%, mate, 100%. All right, let's jump into the next one. Now, here we are, plays building up from the middle of the park this time. So Shawnee, again, just making that little movement. And then he recognises that play is going to come back. So a little stop. And then he continues his movement to the left. In behind the players now. And then there's the cross. And he's got a good angle on it for the goal. Nice and close. Making sure that there aren't any players in front of him. And he's got a good angle on a pretty good goal.
Yeah, agree, Greenie. And I love that he's scanning at all times as well. He's got his head up. He's looking at where the ball's likely to go and thinking about where he needs to go. Exactly what you said with where we go. And then he ends up being in just the perfect spot to give the goal.
Clearly, he must have tuned in on Wednesday for those other clips, I think, Shawnee. So he's put that into practice straight away on the weekend.
Thanks for your support.
Great anticipation.
Yeah, absolutely. No, really, really good example. All right.
Okay,
back to you, Dello.
Thanks, Greenie. We'll get into some set pieces. Look, poor positioning at set pieces, I guess, is a recipe for disaster. The IFAB diagrams that we show and, where to stand at set pieces is important to note. But these are only a guide, and we need to adjust depending on the situation. As Greenie mentions, it's important to anticipate play and use where we go. As we've seen, play changes so many times already in some of the clips. We have to adapt, and we can't remain stationary. Set pieces, goal kicks, corner kicks, goal kicks are also all very important for match officials and referees to anticipate and work out where the play's going to go. So, for example, just very quickly, at goal kicks, if the goalkeeper's taking a 10-metre run-up, all the players are positioned around the halfway area, and there's no attackers just outside the penalty area, well, it's likely that the ball's going to go long, and the referees need to position themselves accordingly. What we're going to do is look at some of the clips in some set pieces, and we'll talk through those certain clips. Here we go. Just before we play that, can you just stop it there? So here we've got Alex King here in actually an earlier Sydney derby where he's positioned himself right where all the players are. He identifies that there's not a large press, not a big press at the moment, and there's an AR on that side. But another key important point here about this set piece is because all the players are in the penalty area, Alex is close to the players that he can also use his voice and presence to avoid any issues in that penalty area. So if we play it on now, Beathy, you'll see a Sydney player has got the ball, good cross in, there's a flick, and then another flick onto a great goal. Now Alex continues to stay central, but also has a very, very good view of this to be able to identify both touches here. So he doesn't have to get drawn into and make the run into the penalty area. He still has a great view, as we can see. And he continues to scan. I think as Beatty mentioned in another clip, he continues to scan to see where the players are. So he doesn't need to make that run. We don't always have to make that run to the right. You'll see here he props, he adjusts, and he's looking at play. He opens his body so he can see all the players in his vision. So again, really good piece of positioning, even though he doesn't move.
I think it's a great example of the where go. So when we talk about those three questions, where is play going? So as you mentioned, Dello, the players are telling us where the play's going. The ball's going to come back in to where all those players are. So where do I need to go? Actually, I need to stay here. And that's where, so that's a great example. If the uneducated eye on that one looks at it and thinks, oh, geez, ref just hasn't moved. Well, he knew exactly what was going on. So that's a great explanation there, mate.
Spot on, Benny. We'll also now move to match awareness. Look, match awareness is crucial in football understanding. The temperature of the match, the score and the time, and these delaying tactics that we see from time to time all play a huge part in effective match control. So not dealing with any aspects can cause major issues for match officials in any match for that matter. First one, we'll touch on temperature of the match. Look, I guess the best way to explain and understand temperature of the match is like blowing up a balloon. If you keep blowing up a balloon and not let any air out of it, the balloon obviously will eventually burst. This relates to a number of tackles that go unpunished, or there might be a number of cautions in quick succession, so the temperature rises, or even a red card or two. The temperature is quite high. So match officials need to be aware of these situations and understand and take appropriate actions, not looking to play advantage in these key areas or time, taking some time to record the incidents to let some air out of that balloon and taking time to speak to the players. So these are all little handy hints that you can use because what you don't want to do is be, starting the game immediately after you've had about 3-4 yellow cards in quick succession because the temperature is so high and players will continue. Over to you, Greenie.
Yeah, thanks, Stello. So, the second part of match awareness that we'll look at is to do with the score and the time. And this is obviously really significant and can influence the teams greatly during a match. And, as we saw last night in the derby, the score and the time of the match had a huge influence at the back end of the game, given that Sydney FC were chasing that game to try and come away with that draw. So, teams, depending on the time of the match or particularly the score, teams might look to defend deeper, as the Wanderers were towards the end last night, and teams will look to press high and attack like Sydney FC were. So there'll be a lot more desperation from teams that are trailing. There might be some more cynical type challenges. So we as referees need to be aware of that. And as Dello touched on, we really have to be wary of that, of teams slowing the play down. So I think we saw Sean last night really clamp down early on the goalkeeper in particular from Wanderers, looking to waste a little bit of time at goal kicks when they were still leading the match. So they might like to refer to that as game management, but it's clearly slowing the game down, and we really need to be aware of it as referees.
Just on those delaying tactics, just an example of that, and again, being aware and match awareness of time, temperature, and all that sort of stuff, particularly late in the match. Goalkeepers, particularly if they're winning, will be looking to delay in the sense that they're going to walk past the ball, take a long time to go get the ball from behind the goals, walk out with the ball, change sides. Referees and assistant referees also need to use their voice and be close to the penalty area as referees to be able to deal with these situations. What you don't want to be doing, and it looks terrible, is running up to halfway. The goalkeepers is delaying tactics, and then you have to run 40 yards to give a yellow card. So be aware of these situations and hang around the penalty area, particularly to deal with these types of situations late in the game. Okay, so we've got to just hold it there, Beathy. Just stop that. Again, last night's game, what a cracking game. We're just talking about match awareness. So here we have it. Wanderers 3-2 up, 96th minute of the game. There's +8. So as match officials, we need to be aware, time, temperature, everything that's going on. And this is a great example of match awareness as match officials, particularly referees. So if we play it, you'll see Sean in a great position with the players in front of him. The ball comes in. He's got a great view. All the players are in front of him, and there's a header on goal, great save, and there's a follow up. So you see Sean continue to adjust his movement to the right, make some adjustments. We've been talking about that tonight. It's important not to remain stationary. So, again, Sean's using his presence here, good position, and great communication with his team and teamwork to talk through this one. And as you see, Sean keeps moving. So that's the key here. Very, very important.
Yeah, Delo, as you said, it's really important that as referees, we have to get angle. And I think that's been the word of the night tonight is getting angle, because you saw how much it means to the coaches, to the players, to the spectators. That's an equalising goal in a Sydney derby. So, we need to see these things. We need to put ourselves in the best position, which Sean has done there. Because look at that. I mean, that could have been anything. That could have been a challenge where you've got to adjudicate on a potential penalty kick. But as you can see, Sean's got a great angle on it. There's a lot of players in that penalty area, so he's had to make that small adjustment so that he's not looking through players at a potential game-changing challenge.
Okay, so just to wrap up football understanding, we've covered anticipation, we've covered match awareness, and again, there's a key right there, and that's expect the unexpected. So anything can happen in these types of situations, and particularly in football. So let's be aware. Over to you, Beathy.
Yeah, awesome, guys. And weren't we lucky to have that game just deliver some of those moments for us last night, because it really reinforces what we're talking about here. My section is all around the priority areas, and when I talk priority areas, I'm specifically talking about the penalty areas, and we've touched on that a few times tonight. This is our main priority for referees at all levels, regardless of what level you're officiating at. As referees, we live and die by penalty area incidents. We touched on it at the start, but we need to be in the right position at the right time to ensure we get the right decision. A couple of key points in movement around the penalty area. Firstly, as we've touched on throughout this session so far, it's so important that we've got the ability to read the game and understand what's happening in front of us, to anticipate play so that we can arrive early to the penalty area. There's nothing worse than seeing the ball move into the penalty area and you're at full speed, still 20, 30 metres from play. We need to anticipate play, move early and arrive so we're making decisions from a really calm place. As Benny touched on early, and we've reinforced all throughout this session, it's angle first. Angle, angle, angle. To see between the incident and then proximity if we can. In and around the penalty area, that's our time to shine with some of our explosive movements and having constant adjustments. You see referees at the top of their game being really agile in and around the penalty area, and they do that so they're constantly getting angle. While we anticipate, it's also really important that we're reacting and adapting to the play that's in front of us, looking, as Greenie touched on the movement of players and also whether there's pressing. And when I say pressing, that's when a defender and attacker are coming close together. So there's likely to be a challenge, a tackle, there's pressing between two players. Finally, in and around the penalty area, teamwork makes the dream work. It's so important that we're using our on-field team and, if needed, our off-field team as well. But it's particularly important that we've got good eye contact and good communication with our assistant referees in and around the penalty area. Now, I've got some clips for us to look through. We'll move away from the Sydney Derby from last night. The first clip we'll have a look at is from an A-League women's match, which we've got Beck as the referee, Rebecca Durkow. In this clip, it's a classic example of where we go. So we've got a play moving down the left-hand side of the field, and traditionally, we'd probably move towards that left-hand corner of the penalty area. However, Beck very correctly and very smartly recognises that there's not a press between the defender and the attacker at this stage, and the majority of the players are moving inside the penalty area. So in terms of where we go, our focus needs to be inside the penalty area, and at this stage, not outside the penalty area where the ball is at the moment. As play continues, the cross does come in, and they can see there's not a challenge from that player on the edge of the penalty area line, and the ball comes central, and Beck is in a great position to adjudge whether that's a tackle, whether that's handball. It does go far, and we can see Beck making a little adjustment there and in a great position for a shot on goal, which again could be anything. We could have a challenge that comes through on time or late, and we could have hands after the shot as well. So we can see a really smart run internal and then a really smart little adjustment for a shot on goal. A nice clear example of where we go and movement in and around the penalty area. I really like that one from Beck. We'll move on to our next clip, and we've got another one from Ali Reza Fagani. Ali, in the same game that we showed in Benny's start of the presentation. So we can see even before I press play here, Ali is already scanning ahead. He's trying to look where the ball's going, where players are moving to, and he's trying to anticipate where he needs to be in the best position. We can see play moves, and we've got a quick through ball that comes central. Ali goes straight for angle. You can see him moving straight away with a quick explosive burst right. If he'd gone left in this instance, which is the traditional or typical positioning line, he would have ended up behind 3 orange players. So a really smart run from Ali to get right, to go for angle first. Angle, angle, angle. I'll let that one play through again. So we can see Ali scanning ahead in this game. Scanning ahead, you can see players moving, a really good through ball, and then Ali makes an explosive movement right for angle. Fortunately, nothing happened in this clip, but it's a really good example of a referee going for angle before anything else. The next clip that we've got here is probably more of a typical run that we'll see. So in this clip, different from Beck's clip, we do have a press coming from the defender. So Ali, very smartly, moves to the left to see between the players. He then allows play to move past him for the cross, and he adjusts again to be in a fantastic position, which needed to be for what could have been anything from this shot. So he lets play move past him. He then follows the ball inside the penalty area, always looking for angle. Another adjustment there, and that is just a textbook example of a great position inside the penalty area for a shot on goal.
And you're right, Beatty, with that run left there, if there is a foul at right now, Ali is right looking straight down that penalty area line to see whether that is inside or outside. So that's a really crucial one. A, that we can see what's happening, and B, that we can sell that decision whether it's inside or outside.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And those ones, you do need to be in that right spot. Otherwise, you're dealing with a whole new topic around managing confrontation.
Which we'll get to later on.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, great one. Our final clip for this section, in and around the penalty area and talking about match awareness. So this match is progressing. There's been quite a few shots on goal, and it's been quite end-to-end so far. We're approaching the 70th minute, or moving towards the 70th minute, 2/3 of the way through the match, and it's still 0-0. Ali is already moving faster than the players in this position. So we're not even close to the penalty area yet. And Ali correctly has already scanned ahead to see two attackers making runs straight towards the penalty area. So he's scanned ahead. He's already anticipating where that ball is going, and he's on the move. As the ball's played through, he's got a 10-meter head start on his sprint, and he's going for angle here because we've got a really, really important decision to make for what could be a dog-so challenge. We'll see that play through. There's a bit of holding there. And Ali in this next angle is seeing right between the players for what could have been anything. Instead, it's a great shot, a really good decision by AR as well, but a really nice example to summarize everything that we've spoken about tonight. Anticipation, moving early, going for angle, and then being in a great spot for what was a really important goal.
And those two options when he was going forward, obviously the ball went to the player on the right-hand side. Ali, you'll notice, has split himself between those two options. So irrespective of where the ball goes, he's got great angle. One's internal, one's external, exactly that very first slide that we showed. So great experience, like you said, Beatty, and a great clip.
Absolutely. Yep. One of the best. So it's a good one to finish on for our last clip of the evening. Okay, to touch on our last topic for the night, a practical exercise that we wanted to leave everyone with, and we feel these are really important as part of the sessions that we're running, are practical exercises so you can practice before going out onto the pitch. This is called referee ball drill. We weren't clever enough to create it, but we've certainly used it dozens and dozens of times during our career in training sessions all over the country and across the world. So it requires two people, one to act as the referee and one to act as the ball. The ball can move anywhere across the training pitch for 60 seconds. It's the referee's job to stay 15 meters behind the ball on that 45-degree angle at all times for the 60 seconds. The team will then rest for a minute and change roles before repeating, and you can do that as many times as you'd like. Now, I've put my fairly ordinary IT skills to work to try and visually show that. We'll see it come through now. So we can see the ball can move anywhere across the pitch, and the referee has to maintain that really good positioning no matter where it goes. And the ball can be as kind or as mean as they like for that session. Fantastic. Do remember that if you are unkind as the ball, you get to return serve a minute later.
Yeah, it is a really important one, actually. And for a period of time overseas, that formed part of my pre-match session. Obviously, all four of us got to travel together a lot. So whoever was fourth official, the ARs would do some work together, and the fourth official and myself would do some work together. And that was one of the drills that we prepared. So we're in the right mind space as well for the game. So awesome. So let's do a bit of a recap for tonight.
Alrighty, yeah, and always love doing referee ball with you, Benny. It was heaps of fun.
We can do it again.
Yeah, one day. All right, so let's wrap it up. So that brings us to the end of tonight's session. Hopefully, you've got a lot from the discussion tonight and the topics we presented. Hopefully, having some clips from the match last night was beneficial. Sean did a really good job. So as the guys have and we've all gone through tonight, positioning and movement is a really big topic. It's really important for us as referees, and it's really important that we get those fundamentals correct. There's a few tips that have been discussed tonight. Hopefully you can have a go at it this weekend or in your upcoming matches. Have a go at it. Start with getting your head up, having a scan around, and looking for where that next phase of play is. Tune in again next week on Wednesday. We're having our very first special guest speaker. We're really looking forward to that one. Not going to divulge who it is just yet. You only have to wait a couple of days. But if you are brave, you can have a crack and post who you think it might be in the comments. We might even drop a couple of hints during the week. We'll see how we go. But on behalf of all of us here at Next Level Refs, thanks for tuning in again tonight. We look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. And as always, we can't wait to take your game to the next level.